Hello and welcome back to the GoldenGoal podcast.
Today we'll be discussing the sixth place prediction.
Sixth place prediction. To be honest, this is kind of generous as well.
Very generous. I think it was like, for us, it could have been lower, to be honest.
It could have been lower.
We would have put another team above it if we could, I guess. But realistically, our sixth place is obviously the mighty Gunners, Arsenal.
The Gooners, the mighty Arsenal.
I don't even know where to start with Arsenal.
Neither. I don't know where to start with Arsenal.
Should we start with strengths?
Alright, yeah.
Alright. Weaknesses now.
Okay.
Arsenal are just a club in absolute crisis at the moment.
I don't know what's going on.
Their fans are at war
with each other.
They don't even know why they're at war with one another.
Yeah.
They don't even know what their protests are about.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the other day on like Arsenal Fan TV, which is absolutely hilarious.
That is the greatest YouTube
Link
channel.
in the description.
Yeah, well,
not that
actually...
they need it or anything, but they basically like they didn't know whether they're protesting for Wenger out or the board out. I mean, they've signed absolutely no one. I mean, they need to strengthen in pretty much every department. They've got a shaky defence.
It's not even as if they haven't signed anyone. They've signed 3 players and just all in positions that they don't need.
Midfield. Why do they keep on?
Why do they need Granit Xhaka? They've got Mohamed El Nene and Coquelin. I know Coquelin's injured, but he's coming back.
And he's
it's not like he's never going to come back.
And he's a player that's not going to change the team dramatically either.
No.
He's just basically doing the same job as the other two.
Exactly.
And what they needed more than anything was a striker. I mean, Olivier Giroud, I don't think he's as bad. I think he's used a lot as a scapegoat by Arsenal fans, and unfairly so. But Olivier Giroud, he's not the type of striker Arsenal need.
No.
Everyone can see that they need a striker that can bang in the goals.
They need a striker who can bang in the goals. They need basically, you know, that when teams have a pair of strikers and you have a goal scorer and you have a player who plays off the goal scorer, who the goal scorer can play off. I mean, that's what Giroud is. That's his role.
But they've got no one to play off.
They've got no one because they play 4-5-1.
And like. What they needed is like just the audacity of they're going for Suarez, who would have been an absolutely perfect fit. Suarez and Giroud, I reckon, would have complemented each other very well. They would have been
fantastic.
Like balls would have been bounced off Giroud over to Suarez. Giroud would have held up the ball, and Suarez would have scored about 30-40 goals for the club. They had the audacity to like pay 40 million and 1p
and 1p or £1 or whatever it was.
£1, whatever they did. It's just that inability to spend, that inability to like. Wenger's just. I mean, I like Wenger a lot. I think he's done fantastically well for the club, but he's stuck in prehistoric times.
He is. He's stuck in like late 90s football.
I mean, he hasn't done. I mean, Arsenal won 2 trophies in the past 12 years.
Yeah, which are the Capital One Cup.
And in those circumstances, they were just missing a couple of really good players.
Yeah.
But instead of buying players, they sold some fantastic players over the time. Fabregas they sold. Henry, I think, was sold just like 1 or 2 years early.
Henry was sold, yeah.
Haleb, Flamini, Nasri, Adebayor. And these are all sold to their rivals as well.
Yeah,
both
Robin Van
externally
Persie.
And internally. Robin Van Persie, for goodness sake. I mean, he won Man United the league.
Yeah.
You basically gifted us the league.
Yeah.
And it must be so frustrating as an Arsenal fan. You're watching like Manchester United spending millions on Pogba,
Mkhitaryan,
Liverpool spending like 30 odd million on Mane, Chelsea signing Kante, and then you're getting rejected by the likes of Vardy. I mean, it's just absolute shambles.
It's a joke.
And I just don't understand. It's like Arsene Wenger has 1 more year on his contract, right?
Yeah.
So no player's going to want to sign for a club that is in self-doubt.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's no consistency or longevity there. Because if they know that Wenger's not going to be around for much longer, or there's uncertainty over his future, then why would they sign for a manager that's only going to be there 1 season?
Exactly.
And that's what's, like, it's just ludicrous.
Sure. Okay. I know that we're all... I know our opinions of Arsenal, but let's try and keep this structured. Let's try and start with strengths, and then we can go in on more weaknesses.
We're going off on a tangent.
But strengths, I mean, like we say, it is a very nearly finished jigsaw. It's very nearly finished.
Just the final couple of pieces are missing.
Yeah.
Like, they have still got a young squad.
It's a quite young squad. It's a quality squad as well. Like, You have Özil in there, who, in my opinion, is one of the most creative attackers on the planet right now, and he's. I mean, I loved him at Real Madrid. I don't think he's quite the same player he was at Real Madrid.
He doesn't have the same kind of players around him, I guess.
I suppose, but even still, like, he's not producing the same. He's like, even the way that he's passing now, it's just not quite as ambitious and stuff. Like, he's a different player.
He's lost a bit of confidence.
Yeah, he's not as confident as he was at Real Madrid. And you also have Sanchez as well, who I have to say, Sanchez, I'm glad that Arsenal are using him properly, unlike Barcelona, because he was misused at Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean, Sanchez is a terrific player.
I love Alexis Sanchez. I loved him when he was at Udinese.
I mean, Sanchez and Ozil are two world-class players.
Oh,
in
yeah,
that team,
absolutely.
And I think another positive thing is, like, after all those years, and this is why I actually thought Arsenal would win the league last season, is they had Petr Cech as a quality keeper.
Yes.
One that he'll go down as a legend of the Premier League.
Definitely. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And
he's one of the best keepers the Premier League's ever seen.
And for so many years, Arsenal never had that. They fiddled around with it.
Yeah.
They had Lehmann when he was off. Kind of like Lehmann was good, but they kept him there for too long.
Yeah.
Fabianski
for a while, and then they signed Ospina on a free, who was steady but not great.
So they've got a world-class goalkeeper as well.
And and it's not as if he's very old either. He's got a good 4 or 5 years left in him at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think when Petr Cech signed for Arsenal, it was a bit like when Van Sar signed for Man United. He was old, but his experience was invaluable, and he's very rarely going to make any mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was I thought it was ludicrous when Chelsea let him go.
Yeah, to Arsenal as well.
Yeah,
people like your main rivals, but that's just treating players badly.
Yeah.
Also, I think Bellerin's a good player.
Yeah,
as well.
He's a good player.
So on paper, they have got a few gems there.
Yeah.
Let's not deny that. They've got some very good individual talent.
It's not as if the team is a bad team, like an atrocious team. Like, individually, they're not an atrocious side. It's just missing things.
I think it's just faith.
Yeah, and faith. I
just don't think the players have that much faith in the manager anymore.
I mean, can you imagine, like, say back when Arsenal had, like, Henry, Bergkamp, Pires, whenever. If that side had come second in the Premier League to a team like Leicester, could you see them going off on fucking mental fucking protests and stuff to get Wenger out? You wouldn't, would you?
It's just like the team's just so self-absorbed. Like, just their mannerisms. Like, you see the club, like the players, like posting like selfies consistently and like always on social media. And
as much as I like Alexis Sanchez, he's very guilty of that.
Yeah, it's almost very much like they're all very self-absorbed and they're all playing for themselves.
I feel like it's almost reached that point though with Arsenal, because I mean, I'm not being funny, a lot of players who have gone to Arsenal now, their careers have just gone downhill.
That's it. I mean, the potential that some of these young players had, like Ramsey,
fucking
Walcott is, I think he should be ashamed of himself.
He should be,
because he has just been bang average for so many years.
His career has been a complete joke.
It's been 10 years and he stayed at the consistent level.
Yeah.
He was going on about how he wanted to be a striker for years and years and years.
Yeah.
They gave him that opportunity and now he wants to revert back to the
wing.
Go
back to the fucking right wing.
I mean, he's an intelligent person, but...
Is he?
He comes across like an intelligent, well-grounded person, but nothing's happened. He's never had that spark. He's never reached the potential that everyone thought he would as a 16, 17-year-old boy.
I honestly, like, the amount of potential that he had when he was younger. Do you know what? He stinks of like a Ravel Morrison kind of player.
Yeah.
Where he had everything he needed there. All that talent, but he just didn't step up.
When he was 16 or 17, he was the best player at his age.
Oh, definitely.
And everyone was like, "Oh, this kid's going to be the new one."
Well, think about how much potential Gareth Bale must have had to become as good as he has. In my opinion, probably the best winger on the planet. And now you've got Gareth Bale absolutely soaring at the top of football, and Theo Walcott was probably comparable. Gareth Bale probably looked up to Theo Walcott because in that Southampton side, Theo Walcott was light years ahead of Gareth Bale.
At his age,
Yeah, at his age, certainly. So, I mean, he should be ashamed.
And it's just like, and it's
He
the
should be
areas,
ashamed.
It's the areas. He's a frustrating player to watch as well, because it's like the areas he needs to improve on, he just doesn't.
Yeah.
His finishing. I mean, he must have known about his finishing for years and years.
His
and
end
years
product
and
has
years.
always been a problem.
But it's just he's on the decline. It's not like he's stagnated. He was stagnated for ages. I mean, we read a statistic here which says he hit 5 goals in 28 games last term, and in the previous 2 seasons he had 10 in 27. So he's got half the amount of goals he did last season he did in the previous 2.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if like his impact on the pitch, his goal scoring, which he wanted to improve on, which he highlighted it himself. He was like, "Yeah, my finishing needs to improve. I want to be a striker. Wenger, let me prove this to you." Wenger he's too trusting in his players.
Yeah.
Wenger being too trusting in his players accommodated to that.
Yeah.
And he didn't deliver, and it's just, and how he's one of the most well-paid players in the Premier League.
That's
beyond me.
That's fucking just atrocious. It's terrible. I cannot believe like how like people go. To be fair, people go on about Ravel Morrison, and Ravel Morrison had a terrible attitude as a Premier League player, and his career's gone downhill. Fair enough, but like people don't call out Theo Walcott's attitude enough.
How much faith do you have in one player? Like, how much time can you give one player to improve?
Exactly.
You're just going to settle for average.
He's had a whole career, like pretty much a whole career to do it.
Because you think, if a player's been at a club for 10 years...
Yeah.
Right, you'd think, oh, he's a bit of a legend, there's something about him, he's done something. He's had like 3-4 great seasons. Like, every player that's played for Man United that's been there for 10 years has had something about them, and when they had the testimonial, it's quite emotional.
Something about, yeah.
But Arsenal fans are going to be like...
Even Leeds, like the few players that we've had for like 8, 9, 10 years, we go, that player's maybe not even a legend, but maybe something like an icon or something.
When has Theo Walcott ever had like that electrifying season that we're all promised?
No.
And as England fans, it's frustrating as well.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what it's like being an Arsenal fan.
Can't even imagine. Oh, fuck me.
But it's like everyone else can see the weaknesses in Arsenal apart from the club.
Yeah.
And Wenger he reminds me a bit of Louis van Gaal. He seems extremely stubborn, as in he almost wants to stick to his principles.
Yeah.
Despite it being the wrong thing to do.
Which, to a point, is admirable, because you go, do you know what? Even if we don't win, if we're going to win, I want to win in the way that I want to win. So like we were saying about Pep Guardiola, how he plays passing football, and that's what he believes in, and he doesn't want to change that because he wants to win something. He wants to win it the way that he wants to. But Wenger has kept things the same for 10 years.
It's just stubbornness, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, it's less of sort of like, I want to win in my style. It's more sort of like, I'm not willing to change.
Because I think he thinks if he does sign, say if he signed Lacazette and a quality centre back, he'll be like, and they go on to win the league.
It's almost
Arsenal fans are like, well, we've been saying this for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you do this earlier? Because I honestly reckon that Arsenal, had they signed as much as their opposition over and kept hold their players, would have won so much more. They would have won at least a couple of leagues.
Do you know what? I'm going to really piss off Arsenal fans here as well, because even if they had just made 2 signings like Tottenham did, even if they signed, instead of say if they signed for 15 million a player who scored lots of goals in the Eredivisie, like Tottenham did, and they signed even someone like Jose Fonte,
that's what I was thinking,
or someone like that, they would probably be like, okay, it's not exactly what we wanted, but it's okay, it's good. Like at least he recognises that those are areas where we need to improve in. But they just haven't. And they signed Granit Xhaka when, in my opinion, like, they just didn't need him.
And don't get me wrong, I like Xhaka as a player.
I like Granit Xhaka. We're not knocking on Granit Xhaka, and we don't think that
we'll think he'll have a good season, but he's not the right player that's going to make a bigger difference as if you sign like a Lacazette, or if you sign a good solid centre back.
Yeah.
Like a Fonte, like someone that is just going to have that experience, sort out that Arsenal defence, because they were absolutely woeful.
Oh, they were. They were. I mean, last season. I mean, like, I know that people say, "Oh, well, they finished second." I think that that really misrepresented how good Arsenal were. Because in my opinion, Tottenham were far better than Arsenal throughout the whole season. Yeah. Even Manchester City at points were probably better than Arsenal.
They were definitely not the second best team in that league.
No, no, definitely not.
It's like what you said earlier, statistics don't show everything. It's a statistic that Arsenal finished second last season. Doesn't mean they're the second best team.
No.
Because when you're looking at performances, you were just... that was literally the best chance Arsenal had to win the league in years.
Yeah.
Manchester United were awful. Chelsea were like at sea.
Yeah.
Manchester City capitulated because
Liverpool were in a crisis.
Liverpool in a crisis. It was just Leicester and Tottenham.
Yeah.
Tottenham that had never challenged for the league for about 30, 40, 50 years. I don't know how long ago it was since they won last league. And a Leicester side that everyone had tipped to get relegated.
Well, they were 5,000 to 1 to win the title.
And you'd signed Petr Cech, and you had that goalkeeper, you had that covered. If you had just signed a striker, because Giroud and Sanchez had a period where they only scored like one goal between them in about 11 matches.
Yeah.
But it's that belief, it's the fact that the players just don't have the right attitude.
No.
The manager's stubborn, the players don't have the right attitude, and the fans are turning. They are. I think in some ways I can see their frustration, but the way they've treated Wenger, I think has been absolutely abysmal. And I think we said this in another preview. I think we said this in the Liverpool preview. We said you cannot win the league if your fans are against you.
No,
because they're the 12th man in the end of the day.
I think we said that during Tottenham's preview.
I mean, you've got fans that are arguing. Like, there's been fights outside the Emirates, fights within the Emirates.
Which, between Arsenal fans aren't exactly the most intimidating, are they? No. They're not the most violent. And the fact that there's actually fighting among Arsenal fans shows how bad the situation is.
And in my opinion, it's the way in which you deliver the protests that are the problem. Because you've got to acknowledge that what Wenger has actually done for your club. Your club was never a top 4 club before Wenger come in.
Definitely not.
I mean, I think in the year I was born, Arsenal finished, which is 95. I think Arsenal finished about 14th, 15th, somewhere like that, somewhere ludicrous like that. He's bought a new stadium, which we'll go on to a bit later. You got one of the nicest stadiums. You consistently finish in the top 4, with spending very limited money, and football is, as much as I hate to admit it, football is a massive business.
Yeah. And
Wenger generally has, out of all the managers that are at their clubs right now, Wenger cares more about Arsenal than any other manager cares about their current club.
Definitely.
He bleeds Arsenal. He's hurting too. He's not the only one that's hurting. Yes, he can be stubborn, but just the way in which you did the campaigns, like booing him and stuff like that, singing songs about him actually being a paedophile and stuff like that.
That's disgusting.
It's just disgusting because he's brought so much success to your club. You had the most successful period ever.
Yeah.
From around about 2002 to 2005, you had the most successful period ever under him.
Yeah.
I mean, you're invincible in 2004. I mean, I'm as a Manchester United fan, that team was just phenomenal. We had like Perez, Lundberg, Henry, of course, and it is really sad. It is really, really sad to see. And he doesn't have full control over who comes in and who comes out.
I mean, I'm not sure about that though, because I have a funny feeling that he does. I have a funny feeling because they don't have a director of football to bring players in, so it is all down to him and Ivan Gazidis, who I don't know how much he's actually doing, but I'm not sure if Wenger thinks that he needs to sign people, which I have to say is a problem because they do clearly need. But it's like we were saying before we started recording. The whole thing about, if you have a problem, just sign this player and this player and this player and all your problems will go away. It's not like that. It's more sort of like if you can change your mindset, then that's good. Then your problems will probably get solved.
And like we said, you're not missing that many pieces of the jigsaw. It's
Yeah,
not like we're expecting you to sign
all
7 players for 30 million.
All I'm saying is that like you just need a bit more quality in very very few areas. Maybe fullbacks, maybe fullbacks, but definitely centre back and striker.
I mean, if they can get, do you think they're going to sign Lacazette?
No.
It's just, and the thing is, like,
I think Wenger will be too stubborn.
Even if Wenger was to sign someone, it would just lift spirits up at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Or even if they were to sign Lacazette, not only would it be good for the team, and he would score 15, 20 goals in the season, it would also just be good to shut up the fans that are booing the team consistently. But it's just the fact that Arsenal fans have gone into this new season so negative.
Yeah, I was watching Arsenal Fan TV, and after their first game, they're already fucking calling for Wenger out. Already.
It's just
first game of the season.
It's just the way in which you treat a manager and a legend. It's just despicable.
I mean, Pochettino isn't a legend at Tottenham. He's only been there for 3 years, but they don't fucking spit on him when he fucking loses a few games.
And I just don't understand, because the Emirates, Highbury had a fantastic atmosphere. Don't get me wrong, but the Emirates have never had a great atmosphere. So I don't understand where all this like hatred's come from.
No,
you're voicing your opinions now. Where were you when they were playing well? Where were you getting behind the team?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm a Manchester United fan. You're a Leeds United fan. Okay, we have reasons to dislike other teams more greatly.
Yeah.
Than Arsenal.
Mhm.
Okay, so did I go as hard as this against Liverpool and Manchester City?
No.
My two main rivals, right?
No.
No, so it's not like I'm being biased. I've reasons to feel this way.
Yeah.
I'd hate it if my own fans were being that disrespectful towards a living legend.
No, it's embarrassing.
It is.
It's embarrassing.
It's just like the protests and what's like.
And fucking Saint Tottenham's Day or whatever it was called last year, where they were fucking all celebrating because they finished above Tottenham. I would be embarrassed.
That's a small club mentality.
That's a small club. That is something that Leeds United would do.
Yeah.
That's something Leeds United would do. That's not something that fucking Arsenal should be doing.
In the end of the day, you aim to finish the league. You should have won the league, and you finished.
In fact, I'm not even sure if we would do that. I'm not even sure if Leeds would. Thinking about it now, I think our fans are too proud to do something like that.
And it's like Tottenham, the players didn't care. Like they finished, Tottenham were like celebrating coming third because they aimed for the Champions League and they got
exactly. They actually achieved their goals. Arsenal didn't.
It's just that I think the biggest mistake maybe Arsenal have made is moving stadium, because all the money that could have been invested in players has gone to the stadium, and they used that as an excuse for so many years. It was used as an excuse
for so long. It was always just like, oh, we're planning for the stadium, so we can't give Ashley Cole a new contract. Yeah. Probably the best left back the goalkeeper
Premier League has ever seen. In my opinion, the best left back the Premier League have ever had. And you've lost. Not only have you lost all that money, and you did get a beautiful stadium out of that, but the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, like Highbury was so
intimidating to go to. When you watch Premier League years and you watch Arsenal play pre the Emirates Stadium, the atmosphere's electric. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because they're so close and they're so and there's interaction between the players and fans. But now it's just dead.
I mean, how can you generate less noise in a 70,000 seater stadium than you did in the Highbury, which was only 35,000?
It's crazy.
And the thing is, like, bad memories are going to be are associated with the Emirates now for fans.
Yeah.
Because that is the cut-off point between when they started losing success and they started going downhill, was their stadium.
Yeah.
2005, 2006, Lundberg left, I think, or around this time. Perez left, Bergkamp left, Henry left. Yeah, the season up, but that's when you started losing all the legends. So they have no legends associated with that stadium.
No.
Who's been if you said to me right now, since that period, since the Invincibles, who's been Arsenal's best player over the past 10 years? There's no standout player that's really.
Maybe Fabregas, but I mean he's gone to Chelsea.
He went to Barcelona and then went to Chelsea. Who else? I just can't think of someone that's been there
I
consistently.
mean, the only person who has been there consistently since then has been Theo Walcott
And Rosicky.
and Rosicky. Yeah,
Rosicky, we love Rosicky.
I love Thomas Rosicky.
Just a shame about injuries. But yeah, I don't think any Arsenal fan will go, yeah, Theo Walcott, absolute legend.
Yeah.
It's just sad because I always, when growing up, being a Manchester United fan, like I've always respected. I used to love our rivalries with you guys. Like, yeah, I know we've declined as well, but our decline's been a lot more recent,
slow,
more recent, and also Man United are not settling for it. Like they're building foundations, they're signing, they're moving forward. But with Arsenal, it's almost as if like you've just steadily got
like one
worse.
step forward, two steps back.
Yeah. And like we want to, you know, you can. It's all well and good trying to play the right way and not signing players. I mean, like, trying to have faith in youth.
I mean, supporting Arsenal must literally be like fucking at Christmas getting out a jigsaw and doing the jigsaw and then finding you're missing two pieces and like, oh shit, well fucking this is ruined. Put them all away again. And you bring it out next Christmas, and you bring it out again, you do it, and then you're like, oh shit, the pieces are still missing.
It's the same cycle, isn't it? They start off really brightly,
and
they get to February, and it would be interesting.
Well, I mean more about the players, but
yeah,
but like just,
I mean, are there?
They do capitulate late season as well.
It's just it'd be interesting to see like where the league. What the league table would look like if you like looked at from February onwards over the past few seasons where Arsenal would finish, because they probably would finish like 8th.
I'm not even sure if they'd be in the top half on some seasons.
And I think Wenger should have perhaps optionally chosen to leave with dignity after the first FA Cup.
Yes, for sure.
Because he would have got a trophy and it wouldn't have carried on. But he is prehistoric, and you're seeing this a lot now. A lot of the older managers aren't doing as well, like Louis van Gaal.
Yeah, the more old school managers aren't doing as great. Fabio Capello even recently.
Pellegrini, like it's almost as if like the older manager, like there's just a new wave. It's all about energy now. It's all about excitement. It's all about players want someone they can relate to,
which you just don't have in older managers because they just don't have as much energy.
That's what I find frustrating though, is because I would argue like flip it on that is not looking at the managers, looking at the players. The players are so self-absorbed. They're so kind of like don't have that respect as much anymore.
No.
And I do think of the Arsenal players. I do think of them like taking selfies during like their Tottenham win and stuff like that. Could you imagine Rob Perez and Thierry Henry? They've just beaten Tottenham and then like taking selfies in the mirror and going, "Oh, this is amazing," and celebrating like they've won the cup. No, they'd be like, "No, on to the next match. We've done our business.
Exactly.
We expect to beat Tottenham."
It's like, can you imagine fucking Bergkamp, Perez, and Henry celebrating Saint Totteringham's Day or whatever it was called?
Saint Totteringham's Day was just like an average day for them.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
Day at the office. They wouldn't have even seen like Tottenham as rivals. Like
no,
it's just ridiculous. And like I said, like they've just missed that leader. They have no leaders on the pitch either. That's another weakness.
Yeah.
Who's lead like Petr Cech maybe?
Yeah, but how can you lead for a goalkeeper?
Yeah,
like you're leading from the back of the pitch.
You've got really no leaders there.
I mean,
like,
Granit Xhaka might
accumulate into one.
Might turn into a leader.
Yeah, and I just like you used to back in the day, like Patrick Vieira was just such a instrumental leader.
Yeah.
I mean, his fights and tussles with like
Henry was
Steven
leading
Gerrard.
from the front.
Yeah, leading by example, but you just don't have that. And I think what epitomises Arsenal at the moment is the lack of legends they're keeping as well. Like losing Vieira to Man City, losing even Arteta, and like, I'm not saying Arteta was a legend, but
fucking Thierry Henry choosing to leave.
There's just something not right with that club.
No. And
this is part of the reason why we've put you so low, is because we just think there's just problems internal and external of the pitch.
Honestly,
performances on and off.
To be honest, if you didn't have as much quality, because we do think you have a lot of quality in that team. If you didn't have as much quality in that team, you'd be far lower.
And what I worry about is like when Wenger does leave, and like you completely go flipping and get a manager that's going to sign loads of random players, which will probably happen because that's what apparently you Arsenal fans want. you could have another situation like Manchester United, but on a much larger scale, because you won't have the only reason Manchester United have been able to save their bacon is because it's Manchester United and they have that allure.
Yeah.
Arsenal are a big team, don't get me wrong, but they're not
The same.
Like, there's no way. Like, they got Vardy rejected you.
Yeah. Who's a striker at the end of his career.
Who would have probably, like, I'm not saying Arsenal would be a good move for him, but you'd think, oh well, it's a London club, it's really his last chance to big money move.
Yeah.
But he decided to stay at Leicester. It says a lot about the player, but it also says a lot about your club.
Yeah.
And why are players not wanting to go there? Why are players not sticking around? The reason is because at the moment your club is archaic.
It's in disarray. It's just completely fucked. Like, it's just in a fucked situation right now. Like, I can't. Like, I'm trying to think of one area that Arsenal actually are steady in, and I'm struggling. Because you have managerial position where he's in his last year of his contract, and everyone fucking wants him gone. You've got the players who are fucking, like, arrogant, and you can't really
disillusioned by the
yeah,
manager.
Exactly. You've got fucking up top, they're just not forcing signings through. To be honest, if I owned Arsenal and Wenger didn't want players in, I'd fucking sign him anyway.
Yeah.
I'd just fucking sign him anyway. I'd just be like, well, or I'd just say, look, if you don't want these players because it's clear we need them, you have to leave. You have to leave.
He's almost untouchable, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, the board have control over his contract. They have the control to just say, look, not necessarily sack him, but just say, look, we want this for this club. And we know that you've done well. We will give you a send off. We don't want to sack you because that will be disrespectful, frankly, to what you have done. We would like you to resign.
Or no, or just like, do you want to go upstairs and like become a member of the board?
Yeah, or come join us on the board. We want your counsel, but we just don't want you.
We want your
on the
minds.
pitch.
We just don't want you there because you've obviously lost the motivation of the players.
Yeah,
but I'd say it's as much as the players' fault as the manager. It's just sad just seeing him there on the sidelines and these just players just not.
Yeah,
it just must be so frustrating. Like being an Arsenal fan. And just being, just because it's so obvious where they've needed to improve over previous seasons, and I just don't understand because no other of the top 4 teams during that time period of 5 to 6 years would have ever sold to their rivals.
No,
With
never.
Manchester United, because Manchester United, yes, they sold Tevez. It wasn't directly to City though.
No.
But Man United would never have been like, yeah, have this player in his peak.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Strengthen you. Like, what were they thinking letting Van Persie go to Manchester United? What were they thinking of letting Nasri go?
Thinking of letting Ashley Cole go
to Chelsea, their main rivals. Imagine they kept hold of Ashley Cole, who was absolute quality.
Do you know what's going to happen? Is that if this situation continues, I don't know why I can see a big Arsenal player going to Tottenham. I can just see it happening.
And then they'd just be flippant.
That is going to end Arsenal. Like the day that happens is going to be the day when Arsenal just collapse.
They'd be riots. So it's almost as if, like, we said this earlier, like, Tottenham are slowly becoming better and Arsenal gradually become worse.
Yeah. That's why, in my opinion, they're the best team in North London, is because they're slowly improving.
All the players, they got, like they said, they got the fans, Tottenham have got the fans behind them, the players playing for the badge on the front of their shirt,
and the manager. A manager who believes in what he's doing and believes in his players.
If I was a player, an adoption of joining Tottenham and Arsenal, I'd join
Tottenham.
You
wouldn't. It wouldn't even be a question.
Because why would you join a club on the decline?
Exactly.
And the thing is, like, with Manchester United's it was very rapid, so it was so very obvious.
Yeah.
But this one has just been so slow. And only now, I think, are Arsenal fans really switching on. But Arsenal fans have wanted Wenger out for years, before it was too early. Like,
yeah. Yeah, true.
Bit too early, but I can understand their pain. It's just the way you've done it, and, like, you need to back your players. You need to show some faith. Whether it's false hope, just
because the thing is, like, when you have fans crying out for sign-ins, I mean, imagine you're Arsene Wenger, and you have everyone shouting at you that you're a cunt and you're a pedo, and they want you gone. But then when it comes to the transfer window, they like sign some fucking players. Of course, you're going to be like, well, no, like, because you haven't treated him with respect. You haven't he's not going to treat your opinions with respect if you don't treat him with respect.
When Wenger does like hang up his tie and like just leaves the club, the send off is going to be so awkward.
Yeah.
It's going to be like you don't like. They'll all be like happy and smiling, be like, "Oh yeah, Wenger's a legend. Like we're gonna miss you," and stuff like that, and happy days. But it's just gonna be so false.
Yeah. It's gonna be sad.
It's gonna be sad because it's almost as if like it's all done in vain. Like he will never leave with a great relationship with the Arsenal fans.
No.
Never.
That's gonna be so sad when that happens. Because I don't think he won't leave on a high.
No, exactly. Well,
he's never gonna leave on a high.
Last 8 years have been bad. But it's just his relationship with the fans is completely tarnished. And even in like press conferences, he's like getting a bit like ratty with them and frustrated with them.
Well, I don't agree with what he did recently, where he pretty much blamed the fans.
No, of course not.
But I mean, I can't really blame him for reacting like that though, because he cares about that club more than any. He cares about that club more than any fan.
Who's the most successful manager at Arsenal? Him.
Arsene Wenger. He really cares about that club. He does. Because, do you know what? I have a funny feeling that he wouldn't be so frugal if he didn't care as much about Arsenal as he does.
And where are you gonna buy? Where are you gonna get another manager of that caliber from? That
Exactly.
cares for you as much as he does. What other options are there out there at the moment in the managerial market?
Not that are free.
Who could you ever see replacing Arsene Wenger?
The only person I could
Laurent
ever
Blanc?
see. Maybe Laurent Blanc. I was thinking Diego Simeone. I think he's the only person who could go into that Arsenal dressing room and get those players up for games.
But can you really see Simeone?
I can't. Yeah, but the thing is, why would he leave Atletico? Why would he leave Atletico?
Simeone was desperate to win the Champions League there and the league there in Spain.
And he's got way more chance doing it with Atletico than Arsenal.
I mean, Arsenal will attract a manager. You know, they have got a fantastic stadium.
Yeah, got a great setup, youth system and all that.
You know, and they have got a history.
Yes.
So it's not the be all and end all, but don't expect it to be all rosy when he's gone.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Oh, there's going to be a big Well, I mean, look at what happened when Alex Ferguson left. Fucking chaos.
Chaos happened. And I mean, that's partly the Man United's board's fault, but I don't know. And it's like what Arsenal fans are saying, like Wenger's like been doing like he's been like commentating and stuff instead of like sorting out the games and stuff. Do you think he's lost a bit of his passion?
Yes, absolutely. But I don't think, I would almost say that's the attitude that Arsenal fans towards him. I think it's because of that. Because I think that if he was still backed and he was still like, you know, encouraged to win things and whatnot, like he was still like, people were still like applauding him and whatever, and not, you didn't have people calling him a fucking pedo and whatnot, he probably still would have passion for the game. But I mean, honestly, Arsenal fans, can you blame him when you have all fucking, what are they called? The people that want Arsenal out? It's like a bunch of letter abbreviations.
I don't know. It's a whole like cult, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a fucking cult, and they're just like.
And you see, like on the fan cams and Arsenal fan TV, like they just swarm around in like drones with them. Just
yeah,
like, and some of those youngsters, you know, Wenger's been at the club longer than you've been born.
Exactly.
Like he's been there, what, 16, 17 years now?
Yeah. Approaching 20.
I just think, I do think it's a bit ludicrous that he's only got 1 year left on his contract. Like that should never happen. Either give him a contract or tell him to leave, because the players, I can imagine the players, like if they continue with this poor start, say if they don't get the results they need in the next 5 matches, the players start giving up. They'll be like, well, why am I playing for this manager when he's not going to be here for next season?
Exactly.
It's just like, I just think it goes for football. I think just football is all about the immediate now, and I think players just don't have the respect for their elders in a way.
No,
because there's no way, like, you should be like inspired by a man like Arsene Wenger.
Exactly. I
mean, how old is Wilshere? And well, he must be like a bit older than us, 23.
Yeah.
So what? Wenger would have been he would have been 7 when Wenger started at Arsenal. Stuff like that. It's just a lack of passion, really, from both. The passion from the fans is geared too negatively. The passion from the players is non-existent.
I mean, you could make the Emirates Stadium like an electrifying atmosphere.
You could,
because I mean, look at the new camp. The new camp's huge, and the atmosphere's great.
Doesn't just because you got a huge stadium doesn't mean you lose that interest.
Exactly.
Just because there's people going there like business meet doesn't mean you can't have that.
I mean, you and me we haven't been to Dortmund Stadium, but I mean we understand what the atmosphere is like. That place is fucking incredible, and it's about the same size as the Emirates Stadium.
If you put as much energy as you do complaining on Twitter about Arsene Wenger, and then transmit that onto the pitch, cheering on your team will do 1,000,000% better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wenger just wants to feel loved, and he should feel appreciated. He's put in 16 years of hard graft for you, and that's what upsets me. Just because I have a lot of respect for Wenger.
Yeah, and it's almost as if, to me and you, that's obvious, but it seems like it's not obvious to everyone else apparently, or a lot of Arsenal fans anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, should we move on to after that? Should we move on to like player to watch?
Player to watch. I'm actually gonna have a bit of a stab at the player to watch, and I'm gonna have a bit of a stab in the dark because he's still a bit of an unknown quantity. I'm gonna go with that young winger that they started last season.
I'm gonna go for Bellerin just because I think that he could be potentially one of the best defenders.
You reckon?
Yeah, I reckon. I just think he's absolutely quality.
Also, I will say that I can't remember the young player's name because he only started a few games.
Also, I think Chamberlain as well.
I'm actually gonna go out on a whim and say Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain could have a really good season.
Yeah, because I just think that he's got his doubters. He didn't have a great season last season, but
No.
I actually do think he really tries.
Yeah.
I actually think he does try for the badge on his shirt.
I think he's one of very few players in that Arsenal squad who actually genuinely cares about the club.
And generally cares and is playing for the manager.
Yeah.
Because he does. He doesn't. His decision making is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like he does put his body on the line when he shouldn't.
The mental side of his game isn't great.
But he physically and
even technically, like he's capable of some good. He scored some great fucking goals in his time at Arsenal.
I just hope he can continue to get regular matches because there was like rumours that he was linked with like Arsenal. He was linked with not Arsenal. He was linked with Liverpool at one point. And United at one point.
He would probably suit Liverpool, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean it would be a good move for him. But no, let's just hope so. And he's an English player as well, so it'd be nice to see him do well.
Yeah. I'm also gonna say I reckon that this could be Mohamed El Nene's year. I really like Mohamed El Nene. I think he's a really, really good defensive midfielder. The only thing that I fear about him is that he might not start because of Xhaka, which would be a great shame because I think he's great.
Exactly. So, not the greatest of positional signings there.
For God's sake.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening to us rant and ramble about the state of the club. I mean, it was going to be really embarrassing if Arsenal go and win the league and get like a record number of points.
We are gonna be.
We'll do some kind of like if Arsenal are to win the league and to get above, to get in the top 4, we will do some kind of like forfeit, some kind of like apology video. For you.
Do you know what we'll do? We'll do an apology video in 2 Arsenal shirts.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, I know. Oh mate, I'm as unhappy about that as you are.
Yeah. Well, we just really appreciate it, and if you've got to the 43rd minute,
please leave your comments. We want to hear from Arsenal fans because we know Arsenal fans, but like we don't know. I don't think I know any of the Arsenal fans that want Wenger out. Yeah. So I want to hear what their opinion is. So,
and whether or not you agree with us, or you think we're being a bit harsh.
Yeah, or whether you think we're being a bit harsh.
We don't hate your club. We just hate.
We don't hate Arsenal. We just hate the situation that you're in and what your club represents right now. It's a shame. But anyway, thank you so much for watching.
Cheers.
Thank you. Leave a like and subscribe for more content. Thank you.